Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This video will teach you how to play the basics of the violin in 25 bite-sized lessons. These videos are for anyone who is completely new to the violin and music in general and want to learn how to play the violin in their own time without being overwhelmed with too much information. If you want to view these lessons in their original elongated form, you can access them by clicking the link under this video. This content is part of my 1 to 30 violin course, which guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to an accomplished violinist in just 30 lessons. All links can be found in the description bar underneath these videos. Now, not all of these lessons will be interactive. Some will just be explaining a particular technique or music theory, and an icon will appear on the screen to show you whether it will be interactive or a theoretical learning session. At the beginning of each video, information will pop up on the screen to tell you what equipment and PDF printouts you will require for that lesson. Everybody ready? Let's begin. So for lesson 9, we're going to learn how and where to bow on the violin. So we know how to hold the violin. We're going to be holding it out here, and we learned that from lesson 4. Lesson 5 was how to hold the bow. So we're going to be playing in the space between the bridge that we've got here and the fingerboard, and we're going to be playing pretty much in the middle here. Now, some people will say that you need to play a little bit further towards the bridge. I tell my students to start with just aim for the middle because it's just nice and quick and simple and easy. Now, this is the important part coming up here, and this is the part that people fall down on time and time again because it's something that they don't really keep a tabs on and they just let things slide, and before you know it, you end up just playing like that with a violin at 12 o'clock all the way down and your hands crunched in. What you need to remember is the position of the violin to the body. So again, my body is facing the camera, which is 12 o'clock. My violin is out to the side around about 12 o'clock. It's not up here, it's not down there, it's nice and flat. Now, I'm not worried about what this hand is doing at the moment. I'm just going to hold the violin up with that hand, or I can hold it up here if I really want to. It doesn't particularly matter, but I'm going to hold it there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the bow round and I'm going to place the bow so that it is perpendicular on the violin. So we don't want the bow like this. We don't want the bow like this. We want the bow to create a perfect cross with the violin. So if you notice, my body is facing the front, my violin is out to the side, and my arm is coming round. Now, can you see that my whole forearm is now in front of you? So pretty much speaking, my forearm is there. Now, this is the problem people have because it seems more natural for them to have their arm out this way. Now, if I was going to bow with my arm out this way, which I guess seems normal, it seems alien to me because I've been playing about 35 years, but I can understand why people think it sounds normal. So if I put my bow here, where's the violin? The violin's all the way over there, and I've got a bit of a problem. So what people will tend to do is they'll bring the violin here, and then of course they're there, and then of course the bow is there, and then your violin is out to the front, which is incorrect. Violin out to the side, arm comes round in front of you. So if I hold it without the violin, my arm is going to be there, which is out to the side, and then my bow arm is going to be out to the front here. So if I turned around this way, this is what I would look like. And if I turned this way, my arm is still here. So it's this kind of movement. Now, if I put the violin back over my shoulder, have my arm in the same place, and if I put the bow on the violin, my forearm is literally, it's directly in front of me. It's right here. So if I do that, then I know I'm going to be perfectly in the middle. Now, another little tip that might be helpful is if you could position yourself where there is a tall mirror in front of you. You don't have to do that, but it is much easier to do that. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of practicing in front of the mirror because I wanted to get used to bowing perfectly straight on the violin, and playing in front of a mirror would help me keep to the lines that I needed to keep to. Once I've got my violin out to the side, my arm is in position, my bow is in the right place, so it's creating a perfect cross that we've got here. Now we're going to actually draw the bow on the violin for the first time and see what sound it makes. Now, the first mistake that people do is to draw the bow and they move their arm out to the side this way. We do not want to do this because, as you can see, what is happening with the bow now? I'm obviously not bowing on the violin, but if I did, now it just looks like we're sawing a piece of wood, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep the bow perfectly straight. But if you notice, what that does is that it means that we keep our bow arm here, our violin's here, we keep our bow arm here, and we're just using that elbow joint to bow. Now, if we move that elbow joint, you can see this bow here is keeping a perfectly straight line. Or I'm trying to keep a perfectly straight line. Obviously, I don't have a violin there, but you get what I mean. Now, if I start doing this, I'm no longer doing that. I'm sawing a piece of wood, and I'm swinging from the shoulder. I'm moving from the shoulder. As soon as I move from the shoulder and do any of this kind of movement, the bow is not staying straight on the violin. If you think that you just want to keep that bow straight on the violin, so this is where a mirror comes in handy. So I've got the view screen to the right hand side of my camera lens. So if I'm looking over there, that's what I'm looking at. And even I can see that my bow is straight. So if I do whatever I need to do to keep my bow perfectly straight, and then I notice what my arm is doing, I will notice that I'm purely moving from the elbow. Now, if I just move from the elbow, you can see my arm is straight. So now let's do that and create a sound. So you can see that I'm only moving from the elbow. None of this is moving back, none of my shoulder, just the elbow, and my arm is perfectly straight. So again, this is where your mirror comes in. If you can have a mirror in front of you, you will see all the time that your bow is going straight. Then eventually your arm will just feel that it's got to go from here to here, here to here. So if I move my arm from here to here, here to here, then I know that my bow is going to be straight. And we always want to make sure that we're keeping a tabs on that as well. A lot of people will just forget about that, and then the next thing you know, the violin's going to the middle, to the middle, to the middle, the arm's going down, the wrist is going down, everything's going down, and then everybody ends up sort of playing like that. We don't want that. We want to be nice and open, arm round the front, and now we're looking like a professional violinist.